And welcome to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk. I'm your host, Riley, and our co-host, as always, JP.
Here we are.
There will be no video for this episode because someone, me, forgot the SD card at his apartment. So you'll just have to...
Our dozens of fans will be devastated.
Yes. You'll have to just deal with our voices and accept that.
Let your imagination run rampant when you're asking yourself, could he really be as handsome as he sounds? Don't look at YouTube. Just say yes.
I mean, I wore this beautiful Nightwing shirt.
It's a great shirt.
Just for tonight, too. I was like, you know what? It's nice outside. I want to show off my T-shirts.
Where can a guy find a Nightwing shirt?
I got this at like a comic book shop in Boston.
Okay.
But you could probably, honestly, you could probably get this at like a Kohl's.
Sure.
Or Hot Topic. Which, if you go into Hot Topic...
Haven't.
Tread lightly. They have the...
Like, there's other things. There's more than Nightwing.
They have the like best geek selection there is in there.
Sure.
When it comes to anime and like comics, but if you've seen the Hot Topic crowd, it speaks for itself. So just bear that in mind.
Nice.
The amount of times I have to go in there for a specialty Funko Pop amazes me. They get all the weird exclusives. So
hey, they have their uses.
Absolutely.
Don't hate on Hot Topic without going in there and getting your Funko first.
Just be prepared. It is a little bit of a culture shock.
Sure.
So
that's good for some people to get that culture shock.
Speaking of culture shocks, let's bring it back to like one of the first like big time superhero movies.
You bet.
From 2003.
I believe it was 04, but close enough.
The early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Oh wait, no, we're talking about the second one. I was talking about the first one.
Yeah,
so the second one was probably 04, 05.
The first one I believe was
04.
Solid 2001, 2000 range, early 2000s. We should stick with that. So let's do it. Spider-Man 2. Whoa.
Yes.
Tobey Maguire kicking it as Peter Parker.
Heck yes.
Loved him.
Yes.
Loved him as Peter Parker.
He is probably the best on-screen comic accurate Peter Parker we've had. What I did realize about that movie, like the Raimi trilogy, is that it's way more about Peter than it is about Spider-Man.
Okay.
From like my
That's
perspective.
valid.
From my perspective, because like, I don't know.
I think that's good. I think that's accurate. What I like about that, you're making me think a little bit. What I like about it is that they do that without sacrificing screen time with Spider-Man.
Yes.
Like there are comic book movies in particular that struggle to find the right balance of giving the man or woman behind the mask their due time without then having the movie end and you're going, so we got like 15 minutes of the hero.
Yeah.
Of the actual visual reward. Like I think of Iron Man 3 a lot in that respect, where Tony's going through his struggles.
And he's barely in the suit. Until the end, and then they're like, you know what? 50 suits.
Right.
Which is epic, by the way. That end scene is fantastic, but...
Agreed. So I think that's a great observation on your part with this trilogy. We both confessed prior to getting on the hot mic that we haven't watched the third one in a spell.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, and neither of us, I think, are anxious to break that streak.
No.
I think we're good.
But
yeah. But Spider-Man 2 is where we're going to focus in on because, Riles, I think this is a classic. 2004, so we're closer on the 20-year mark than we are just about any other mark for this movie. That's a long time. I didn't expect it to be that old. But I think this movie holds up so well. I think the story is excellent. The cast is phenomenal. They deliver in spades. Tobey Maguire is great. Give me Kirsten Dunst all day as MJ. Fantastic. And I see in your face you think otherwise. So this is where the podcast ends. Right here on the Kirsten Dunst hill.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Kirsten Dunst. I'm sorry, but it was like that whole... Did we have the conversation with the Dark Knight, the first Dark Knight movie? Not Batman Begins, but the second one, right?
Okay.
Did we have this conversation?
No. Let's have it.
So, I could not figure out why Bruce and Harvey were fighting over Rachel, because to me, Rachel in that movie is not a very attractive lady.
I gotcha.
Okay?
I gotcha.
And
okay.
For me, Kirsten Dunst is kind of in that same department. Like, she's all right, but she's
Really?
no, like, comic book MJ where it's, like, a knockout. You know what I mean?
Man, I don't know what you mean. She is fantastic.
So...
2004, Kirsten Dunst?
And I was watching the first movie, okay?
Yep.
And like, they get to the end, and they're like, I love you, Peter. I'm like, hold up. First of all, you date the bully for like the first 20 minutes, okay?
Yep.
And then for the other half of the movie, you're dating his best friend, Harry, and then you're like, oh yeah, it was you all along. How do you know if it was him all along? You had one kiss with Spider-Man, which
Right.
was a mystery. By the
Right.
way, I do someday want to recreate that, but that's on a whole nother note.
Yep.
But
That's going to take some effort.
because that's like one of the most iconic like kisses and
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
But and then you like fell in love. You fell in love with Spider-Man. You didn't fall in love with Peter. I'm sorry.
I don't disagree. That connection is weak. Don't disagree. Where I will fight you is Kirsten Dunst. Great is MJ. Love it. Big fan. And I will say, like, I don't mind. Okay, we're gonna jump all over the place with this because this is just a global topic.
Yeah.
I don't mind how they have gone a very different visual direction in the new Spider-Man movies. And not even just visual direction with the character of MJ being played by Zendaya.
Oh yeah, that didn't
But
bother me.
Her personality is so different than she is in the comics too. So they're really just.
But
it's the character in name and in role in terms of relationship with Peter Parker only, which I don't have such a strong attachment to the character that I'm going, oh, you can't do that with MJ. Okay, they went a different direction, but I prefer this is my MJ right here. Kirsten Dunst, 2004, Spider-Man 2. I'm in.
But also in that defense too, I think Tom Holland's a great MCU Spider-Man. Yes. I don't think he's a great comic accurate Spider-Man.
Agreed.
Because
Agreed.
The only thing I have a problem with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is that there aren't enough jokes when he's Spidey. He doesn't really talk that much as Spidey, but he has great one-liners. Okay, don't get me wrong. There are some great one-liners in that, but he doesn't.
It's more volume.
Yeah, he doesn't talk as much
rather than quality.
Like, I don't know if you noticed that in like the first and second movie, he does not talk that much under the suit.
Right.
So I don't know if that was by design or what, but like just from my personal perspective, I guess.
I agree. The dialogue is less. Yeah.
And then you have Andrew Garfield, who I believe talked shit like all the time, which is fantastic. So if we could get that mix of Tobey's Peter Parker and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, I think we'd have the perfect on-screen Spidey.
I like that. You make a great argument for who the perfect Spider-Man or what it would look like.
And honestly,
I like that.
And I honestly think Tom will get to that point where he gets to a more comic accurate Spidey.
Yep.
And I also like that they did the web shooters, like they show him working on the different web formula. Like Tobey's was all organic.
Oh, we got to go into that. I love that.
I don't mind it.
I love that. Because here's the deal, all right? If we're really going to go into this guy gets bitten by spider thing and therefore becomes a spider, come on.
You don't shoot webbing.
You don't shoot webbing? Like, you're a partial spider.
Okay.
If I'm a spider, I'm pissed. This guy's calling himself Spider-Man because, like, Tio, like, you might be more like Salamander Man because you can stick to things, but help me understand how you're a spider here, guy. Like, you have no webs. You're out. Yeah. Like, that's an invalid spider.
Well, for me, like, let's be real. If it was realistic, the webs would be coming out of his butt. Like an actual spider.
Yep, we don't want to go that far.
No, thank God.
We're not going to appreciate that.
But, the only reason I prefer the actual web shooters over the organic is because it actually shows how smart Peter is.
I get that.
Like, they still show how smart Peter is in the movies.
But it's a direct reflection of his intelligence and ingenuity.
Yep. You don't see him actually, like, dinking around with it and, like, coming up with different stuff.
Yeah.
And with Tom, that's what's great about Tom's is you actually see all this science stuff. I think he's the most sciencey.
Yeah.
Like, he goes in, he built his own suit in Far From Home.
Yep.
To fight Mysterio.
Right.
So...
That's fair. That's fair. My preference is for the organic, web shooters so that he's a spider and not a salamander. I prefer that. But I don't mind, and I agree with the correlation of, hey, it's a reflection of his intelligence, his creativity and ingenuity that he can build this stuff on his own. Because that's part of the unique piece of Peter Parker is you have these other characters, Tony Stark being the Marvel example, who have wealth aplenty with which they can develop these high-tech pieces of weaponry, and Peter Parker's just a dude. Like, he doesn't have the finances of a billionaire behind him. In the comics, obviously the MCU's kind of, tweaking that a little bit.
Yeah.
But that is a cool part about the character. So I don't die on that hill. My preference is the organic web shooters. I think that was a cool twist. I like that. Who knows? There could have been folks going into Hot Topic in 2004 just getting all pissed when they unveiled those web shooters. They had to, or the organic webs. Hot Topic just was boiling.
I don't think Hot Topic was like that in 2004. I think they were more focused on what album Green Day was releasing at the time.
Stereotyping. That's great. That's great.
Or Marilyn Manson. That was more the Hot Topic crowd back then, I'm sure. But
yeah, I can't speak from experience, even though I could have. But I don't.
You don't even know.
I don't
if
even
you
know.
Get bored, you should just walk
know.
In there for a second.
So
just soak it in.
We agree. Tobey Maguire, excellent. You know who else is excellent? Aside from Kirsten Dunst, how about J.K. Simmons?
Oh, yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson. What a scene stealer.
What
a beast.
And one of the highlights for me, and it's not in Spider-Man 2, but it's in the first Spider-Man, okay?
Yes.
This is why I love J. Jonah Jameson, okay?
Yes.
He talks so much shit because he wants to make money.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, and the Green Goblin is choking him out and is going to kill him maybe, he asks who the photographer is for Spider-Man. Right. He doesn't say. He doesn't give up Peter.
Without flinching. Like, there's not even hesitation. Flinching, nope. That's a great pull on your part.
Yeah. At heart, Jonah Jameson is a good guy, but which by the way, you can't have another guy play J. Jonah Jameson.
No,
there's no way.
No, unbelievable. J.K. Simmons is so fantastic, so brash. Every scene he's in is just glorious. I love it. Just love it.
I love in the second movie where that janitor comes in, he brings the suit to him, and then he's like, I want money for it, and then he hangs it up in his office, so he's looking at it, he's like
with wall tabs, not even hanging it up well.
And then Doc Ock is talking, Doc Ock is on a tear in New York, right? And he gave up the suit, and he's like, you know what, it's my fault, we lost a hero, and it's my fault. And then as soon as Peter comes back to steal it, he goes, "You're a menace! I hate you! I'll end you! You stealing my things!" I'm like, jeez!
Isn't that great?
Oh, that's J. Jonah Jameson. That's Triple
fantastic. J. One of the best parts of those movies. He stands out in Spider-Man 2. He's excellent. Here's another thing we touched on a little bit before we hit record. Kevin Feige, executive producer of the Spider-Man trilogy.
Kevin Feige is probably the mastermind behind a lot of superhero movies that some of us don't even know about. Because I'm pretty sure, I know for sure he was on one of the first X-Men movies.
Yep.
And look it up, but there's a very possible chance he was a part of the first Fantastic Four movie.
Ooh, interesting.
He's got some interesting the dude just loves what he does. So
I'm looking forward to reading that dude's biography someday.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be written yet because there's still a lot more to come, but I am certainly interested in hearing about just getting into his mind, what on earth and how the heck he has these ideas. I mean, That's crazy. Back in 2004, none of us are picking Kevin Feige's name out of the hat and going, yeah, this guy is going to come through and develop superhero movies in an incredible way.
And I think he's one of the main reasons we have Sam Raimi directing the new Doctor Strange movie.
Yep. Absolutely.
Kevin Feige, executive producer.
There he is.
I'm genius. So Kevin Feige has had this
He's always been
he's
there.
had this trail, and then I
Yep.
think, because this is honestly a great. I didn't mind the first Fantastic Four movie.
Okay.
The original first one. It's been a long time since I've seen it
Yeah.
though. So
Same. Same.
But going back to Spider-Man 2,
Bring it in.
I think the other thing we need to mention, obviously, is Alfred Molina.
Whew.
Probably one of the best on-screen villains,
No doubt.
arguably ever. For like a comic book movie, I shouldn't say like all time, because we've had a lot of good villains all time, but yeah.
Not a lot of great ones, though. Like, there's been plenty of villains that have been, I would say, throwaway, disposable villains. And Alfred Molina probably did more with this character in this movie than there should have been. Probably the worst thing the movie does with his character is kills him. Because I would love to see more of Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. And I love that he just leans into the, I'm the strong kind of fat, essentially. Like, here's the deal. Anymore, you're in a superhero movie, it doesn't matter, like, what your role or what your stage of life is. Like, you just get shredded or ripped. And Alfred's like, nah, I'm just taking the shirt off. I am good. And he leans into it. And it's perfect. He's a big dude. He's got some beef behind him. And it's great. It lends authenticity to the character because he's not supposed to be this shredded athlete.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be this intellect who goes nuts, suffers a tragedy that pushes him to madness, and is equipped with freaking robot arms.
Yeah.
And that's great. We don't want to see Alfred. We don't want to see Alfred Molina as shredded Doc Ock. We don't need that.
Kind of, but for other reasons.
So, perfect.
Well,
perfect casting for the role, and he crushes it.
Well, because when William Dafoe comes out of the tube, that dude just gets jacked.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
But
jacked Willem.
Yeah. But the great thing about Alfred Molina's Doc Ock 2 is the fact that he made people care about him.
Yep.
Like he was
he was relatable.
He was not a bad guy. Like even with Green Goblin, he was on that border of crazy and sane, or crazy and sane, where he's trying to balance between the two. And
he was clearly a dick.
Yeah, but he was fighting himself.
Yep.
Throughout the whole movie until he's just like, you know what, it's all you, man.
Yep. Absolutely.
But with like Doc Ock, you get that whole he doesn't really want to do this.
Yep.
That inhibitor thing breaks.
Yep.
He's fighting, not really fighting the chip very well, but the chip kind of takes over.
Pretty weak fight. Yep. He just went for it.
Yep. Yeah. And then slowly, Peter gets him back, and he's like, "Oh man, I screwed up."
How impressive was the CG for Doc Ock's arms? This is 2004, okay, and there are moments in this movie where the CG stands out, not in a good way.
Yep.
But they're relatively brief because really the big moments and one of the most consistent times is the CG of those arms.
Yep.
That's fantastic. That's not going to look better today.
Yep.
It's really good.
The weird thing, too, that I forgot is that the arms, talk to him, and I never understood that. I never understood how they talk to him.
Right.
And then they have it, peeking out like this. I never fully understood that, but I'm like, okay.
Yep. Yeah, really cool. Speaking of villains, okay, how about all the teases for the Lizard in this movie?
I know, with
Dr.
Kirk Connors?
Yes, just walking around, one-armed.
And it's cool to see his relationship with Otto, too.
Yes.
He's we're colleagues, we're friends.
He's got the relationship with Otto Octavius. He's got the relationship with Peter Parker.
Yep.
He's just waiting to get turned into a giant freaking lizard.
Yep, for sure.
Oh.
And I probably would have rather had Raimi's take on Lizard before the new one, but or the one we got.
Yeah.
But that's a story for a different day.
There's still time. I think one of the things that I really enjoy so much about this movie is that it really does a great job in the action scenes of leaning into Spider-Man's unique abilities, what makes his character so physically impressive.
Yep.
He's so agile, he's so tough to essentially get a straight shot on. The scene where he and Doc Ock are fighting on the train and he bends his body to fit through the bridge. That's just nuts. He's standing on the side of the train and then he just flips himself all the way back to avoid the other train coming along. Like, that is sweet. That is freaking sweet.
Probably one of the most iconic comic book movie fights is that train scene, which is phenomenal.
Oh.
And at the end, where he takes the mask off and stops the train, and then the New York City people like carry him in, and they're like, "Oh man, he's just a kid," which he is. He's a college kid, and he's protecting all these people because
Absolutely, it's awesome. I love how they take advantage of his character in the right way in that respect. Like, they're showcasing his talents. Like, yes, that's great.
And the connection with Uncle Ben.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Like, that's Uncle Ben right there. And it shows because that's Spider-Man. Like, his whole life is affected by his uncle's death.
Yeah. That scene where he has to apologize to Aunt May.
Yep. And the scene where he's like, he has this inner struggle where he's like, I can't be Spider-Man anymore, and he feels like he's letting his uncle down. But he's like, I can't do this anymore. It's screwing up my life.
That's what makes that story so good. Is it's such a great story of sacrifice, and he has to make the right choice. But almost every time, it's out of the options in front of him. Okay, so you got the right choice, but it's also goes hand in hand with, it also happens to be the hard thing to do.
Well, and I think that's the essence of Peter. Is like, it's always, they call it the Parker luck for a reason, but he's like, he goes out there, he's the hero, but because he chooses to be Spider-Man at this point, it screws up his life at this point, and it's always he struggles with that balance. He always struggles with that balance.
Yep. Yeah. What a great character. I think the MCU Spider-Man movies have been enjoyable so far. I really enjoyed Far From Home. But for me, this movie, Spider-Man 2, like, that's the gold standard of what I want to see in Spider-Man. Like, him making tough choices, dealing with the consequences, struggling to make it work, not just as the hero, but also as the alter ego.
Yes.
But coming through, like the character that makes the tough choice, that is willing to make the sacrifice. I mean, in this movie, right, in the first Spider-Man movie, there's that allure of the newness of his abilities, and he's like, well, sure, of course I'm going to be Spider-Man, because this is awesome. But by the time we get to Spider-Man 2, like, it's not going well.
No.
Like, from the get-go, the scene where he has to deliver the pizzas is hilarious, but it sets such a good tone for the movie of, it's not good to be Spider-Man.
No.
It's hard. Like, you would think that having all these abilities would just take you into some kind of rarefied air where you're not having to deal with life's normal circumstances, but oh my, he is, and it's difficult, and it's so rewarding to watch him come through, to get through that, and to come out the other side better for it. It's great. Absolutely great.
And on a final note, before we get into the next thing, Alfred Molina is coming back as Doc Ock. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but he did confirm that he will be showing up in No Way Home, the new Spider-Man movie. So there are very heavy rumors that Andrew Garfield's going to be back as Spidey, Tobey Maguire, and the rumors that I saw was that even those Spider-Men are going to have their own individual scenes too. So because Sony
wild.
Yeah.
Just wild.
Sony opened the door to be like, you know what? If you guys really want a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4, we would consider giving it to you. So, I mean...
Which, that's a whole other question. Like, do we?
Well, Well, see, and then there's these rumors. I shouldn't say rumors. There's always these jokes I see, and it's like these memes about like Sam Raimi being in charge of Doctor Strange 2, and it's like Kevin Feige reminding him that he's not filming Spider-Man 4. So, but like I said, this new Doctor Strange movie is going to be the key to opening up the rest of the MCU.
Yeah, we've talked about that. That's true.
So
I got one axe to grind, okay? This is with the Spider-Man character in general.
Okay.
What the F is the deal with the hyphen in the name Spider-Man? Okay, Batman, there is no hyphen. Superman, there is no hyphen.
All one word.
All one word. What is Spider-Man's deal with the hyphen?
I don't know if you know, he's very adamant on the hyphen, by the way. There are moments in the comics, and was it the movie too, where he's like, don't forget the hyphen. They always forget the hyphen. But
it wasn't this movie.
Maybe not the movie, but there is in the comics multiple times where he's like, do not forget the hyphen. I think it's a focus on like My guess.
Like, Iron Man is two separate words, so
Yes.
I get it. Iron and Man, fair enough. And plus, it just looks funny, like Iron Man.
Yeah.
Not phonetically very sound.
Yeah.
But
My guess is that it's to emphasize that he's part spider, he's part man, but he's still one. So they hyphen
it
it
just bugs me. I don't care
because
for
they
it.
want to emphasize that. Yep, he's a spider, and
Yep.
yep, he's a man.
Right.
Hyphen it out. Like,
It just bugs me. It's like, we know. Like, we clearly
Because
he doesn't have organic webs. He's making his own webs.
because Batman.
Full circle.
Okay, because Batman isn't a bat and a man; he's just Batman. So they put it all together.
At one point, we know that.
Yeah,
without
well,
the
yeah, no, I
hyphen.
know. I'm just saying, like, that's why I think the hyphen's in there.
I'm just disappointed.
I prefer the hyphen.
They messed up.
I like the hyphen. I didn't know you had such a beef with the hyphen.
Hate the hyphen. Can't stand that it's there.
Well, Peter loves the hyphen. He makes sure that you don't forget the
my
hyphen.
gosh. It's unbelievable. That's my only real beef. That, and it's a bummer that Spider-Man 3 didn't cash in on what Spider-Man 2 set up, because man, this was so good. And I'll say it again, it holds up so well.
Yeah.
Like, such a good movie, and a good standalone movie. Like, you don't even have to have seen the first one. You don't have to worry about seeing the third one. If you're like, I would like a great superhero movie, there it is.
Yep.
Go watch Spider-Man 2.
And I think to like top this off, like I was reading, Sam Raimi didn't really know who Venom was when he was writing Spider-Man 3, and Sony's like, Venom is so popular right now. Put him in there. Put him in there. Put him in there. So he's
Right.
and he likes the character. Like, he was reading the character. He's like, oh, I love this character. But pretty
Yeah.
much to me, he was shoving in a character that he
Right.
didn't really want in necessarily right away. So if they would have set up Venom for like maybe the fourth movie or something, we would have had a different outcome. Because
Yeah.
I think his focus, what he really wanted to do, was have that climactic end fight with him versus Harry, and
Sure.
then maybe throw Sandman in there.
Sure.
Because I don't think the guy they cast Sandman was actually a good casting choice. I thought.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
looked like Sandman from the comics.
Yep. They
So.
had one too many villains in that movie. So,
Man, that was the problem.
Yeah.
Although I would have preferred they just don't have another Green Goblin.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
for me, there was no necessary it was not necessary to have Harry Osborn ride in on a hover skateboard, and
It was weird at best. Weird at best.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I do like James Franco, and
Be frank.
we'll end on that.
we just have to.
James Franco's cool.
We just have to. Good for you, James.
So
Let's talk some current topics. All right.
Yeah.
There's our past touch. Let's hit on what's going on right in the now. And you and I just recently finished watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And here's the deal.
Absolutely.
Spoilers, because we're just going to get into
we are
it.
going to get spoilers.
Yep, we're just going to. So skip ahead a good 20-25 minutes if you don't want to get spoiled on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But we're going to go in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I loved it.
I loved it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I did. I did not expect to enjoy the dynamic between Falcon and Bucky.
You didn't
Okay?
expect to?
I didn't expect. No, not as much as I did. Let me explain. I thought, okay, it'll be fine. I'm intrigued. I'm excited to see it, but I didn't ahead of time go, oh yeah, this is going to be an incredible dynamic, and it was. Like, the friendship that developed between those two guys, the buddy cop dynamic that the writers leaned into, gold. It was great. I love that.
I knew I was going to love that pairing after watching Civil War, because
Yep.
those two,
Yep.
the fact that he's like,
Sure.
and they brought back the seat scene,
Yep.
where they're like,
Yep.
let me
Can you
guess,
move your seat up?
yeah, let me guess, you're not going to move your seat up, and he's like, nope. Like.
Yeah.
They worked really well together for not having their their peanut butter there anymore.
Right.
Which was
Which was Steve.
Yeah, Steve was like the reason they even hung out.
Right.
And now they hang out.
They had the mutual friend. Mutual friend is no longer there, and
Yep.
all of a sudden they've got to make it work on their own.
And they do.
And they do.
And we don't know what happened to Steve.
Yeah, boy, they continued
I thought
to
they
leave
were
that pretty open-ended, didn't they?
I thought they were gonna have I thought the first episode was gonna be his funeral, and then they don't really mention what happens to Steve. So did Steve go back to the alternate timeline?
They do act like they know where he is, though.
I know.
Yeah.
We can get into like
right.
all the future rumors once we break through, but yeah. So, all right. So my favorite, I shouldn't say my favorite character. How do I want to break this down?
Just go for it. You can have a ton of favorites.
No, I know. So
a ton of them.
Like Bucky, I think Bucky's arc through this whole show was fantastic. The fact that he just
agreed.
I'm trying to think of how to word this. At first, he's just devastated, and he's like trying to make up for being the Winter Soldier, but in the wrong ways.
Right.
And he's not asking for forgiveness. He's just trying to fix it himself.
Yeah.
And then you watch him fully go through, and he's like, okay, I have to accept that that's who I was.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in control, and I have to fix whatever I can.
Yeah.
But his and I think one of his best scene easily is when they flash back to him in Wakanda.
Yep.
And you have the Dora Milaje chick chanting, or not chanting, but saying the words over and over, like all the way through, and you can see his face he just breaks down because they cleaned him out.
Yep.
They cleaned his head out.
Yeah. Yeah, his arc is tremendous. Kudos to Sebastian Stan for conveying that struggle. I mean, Sam Wilson goes through a great arc as well. However, I think his character is pretty steady from start to finish.
Yes.
Like, you don't necessarily see different layers of Sam. Like, he makes a very different choice at the end of the show to take on the mantle of Captain America, whereas at the beginning he just feels like the shield is too much for him. He does not feel worthy of that selection of Steve's. But with Bucky Barnes, like, my goodness, his character changes so much from just the seemingly eternally tormented, conflicted, haunted, former just psycho killer to a guy that lives liberated. Like, he's making his own choices. He has confronted his past, which is a big assist from Sam Wilson. Like, that conversation that Sam Wilson has with Bucky Barnes in that second to last episode about how he has to change his approach to his past is so strong. And that was just a delight to see that character of Bucky Barnes progress from episode 1 through episode 6. I want to rewatch the show right now just for that. Like, there's other pieces I'd like to rewatch and pick up on again, but just for that arc, that was so good.
Well, and he's he's finally back to being Bucky.
Yes.
Like, that's how he was in the first movie.
Right.
And then he finally gets back to that point where he's like, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they call him the White Wolf, which we didn't see that name change. So I don't know what Marvel's plan for Bucky is with that, but like, you know how it switched at the end from Falcon to Captain America.
Yep.
They didn't do that for him. So I'm very curious on what they're gonna go with on that route, and I hope they do go White Wolf, and he just looks like that, or they just call him Bucky. I'm okay with them just calling him Bucky too.
Right. I'd like to see the White Wolf. That's too cool.
I know, right?
That's too cool of a name
I know.
to use.
And then
let's see, we've got White Wolf or Bucky. It's like,
do
the right thing.
But for the love
right
of God, do not give him... I don't want a mask for Bucky, unless it's like his Winter Soldier mask, where it's just the half mask.
Yep.
I don't want anything like that.
Yeah.
They called him Sergeant Barnes in episode 6. The man got his name back and his respect.
Yeah. That's... I'll tell you what, like, something that I really was hoping for going into it was that Bucky would end up being Captain America, because I enjoyed the heck out of that part of his arc in the comics. But what I didn't expect and ended up enjoying a great deal was that we got what the comics gave us with the transformation of Bucky to what he, to where he started to where he ended. And we got a new Captain America that was a great choice in Sam Wilson. I enjoyed that. I didn't expect it. My preference was, I knew it was between the two of them. I didn't know which way the show was going to go, but I was hoping hoping for it to be Bucky, but I like that they ended up going with Sam Wilson instead.
I figured it was going to be Sam the whole time.
Yep.
I figured, I don't want to get too political, but with the political landscape we're in right
that
now,
had a factor.
I think it had part of a factor, but also the fact, like, that's Sam's arc through this entire show, is whether or not he finds himself worthy. He held Steve up to such this high level where he's like, no one can fill his shoes. And no one really can fill Steve's shoes because Steve was kind of one-of-a-kind dude, but he realizes that
who he is enough.
Yeah, and he's going to have he's going to have his take on Captain America.
Right.
Like, he understands that he's not Steve, and that's okay.
Yeah, Steve wasn't asking him to be Steve. He's telling him, be
by the way, one of the best comic accurate suits we've seen on screen.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
Boy, did they crush that.
Beautiful.
They didn't mess around, did they?
And his entrance with the suit, when he throws it through the window and he flies in, I'm like, whew. I pretty much shat myself a little bit. There was a little bit of poo. And I was like, wow.
That's great. That's great.
I will say my favorite scene, though, in the entire show is John Walker versus the other two. I wanted to rewatch just that fight.
That fight was brutal. It was brutal.
Awesome, though.
Like, yeah. I'm not questioning its awesomeness. Like, we have seen so many of these movies. Like, there's just violence just woven into the movies and the show. So I feel like to a certain extent you get a little numb to it. It's like, oh yeah, that dude got thrown off the building. Yep, shot, dead. That fight was making me cringe with phantom pain. I was like, ouch. Ouch. Like, that was tough.
See, I didn't do that. I was like, yes! And then I was like, break it again! Because when they break his arm with the shield, I was like, yes! I was freaking out. I was like, yes! Keep going! That's how I was.
Break it up and beat him with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like, keep going! And then it was so emotional. I did. I just wanted more of that. It was awesome. And the fact that they, like, used each other to, like, hit into each other. Like, they gave it their all. But I felt the most emotional part of that, too, was at the end, and you just see Falcon, and the only thing he's doing is trying to wipe the blood off the shield. And I was like,
yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
But
yeah, quite the scene. You know, to come back to something you said earlier about Sam Wilson's character, that's really where Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes are able to connect and find that common thread, is for their own reasons, neither of them find themselves worthy, right? Like Sam Wilson's like, I can't be Captain America, I can't do what Steve Rogers did, and Bucky's a little bit more grave, where it's like, I shouldn't be alive, like, I have killed so many innocent people, I'm on that precipice of just going completely over to the darkness. And so, different sets of circumstances, but that's the common thread that brings them together, is they both have the same struggle. And it's so rewarding to watch them, unwillingly at first, use that friendship to bring each other out of that place of unworthiness. Bucky's like, you know what? I don't know what's next, but at least I know I've got a reason to live, right?
The best part of that too is that when they like both walk up to John, you can see it in his eyes. That's been in there for the last 4 or 5 episodes. Yep. That dude was waiting to jump John Walker from minute one, as soon as that dude got announced as the new Cap.
It was time. It was time. Like, it was just payoff.
He's
time.
like, you guys don't want to do this. He's like, nah, we really do.
Really
So I think Bucky and I were in the same boat. We're like, yes, break his arm.
It's time. Yeah. How about John Walker, by the way? I didn't expect his character to not die. That's great. I'm really okay with that.
I was like, first of all, we better get a U.S. agent, and we did.
Yep.
And that suit also. This show knocked it out of the park with comic accurate suits, minus Flag Smasher. But did we really want the Flag Smasher suit to be comic accurate? I don't know if you've seen that suit.
I haven't seen that, and I also have not seen the U.S. agent suit, so I'm going to take
U.S.
your
agent
word
suit
for it.
is fantastic. Yes.
Okay.
But from the bottom of my heart, if you hated on that man before you watched the entire show, and you hated that actor and you sent him death threats from the bottom of my heart, quit watching movies.
Did people really do that?
Yes, they sent that man death threats.
Gosh.
And he stayed off of social media, which is genius. And it was all because he's like, how dare you stand where he stood. Guys, it's not real.
It's a fictional story.
And
it's fictional.
And if you hate him, he's doing
These
his
are the people
job.
that shop at Hot
yes.
Topic.
No.
Are we sure?
Those are the people that shop at Whole Foods and only eat vegan stuff.
Yeah.
That's that market. But
Yep.
like if you hate him, he's doing his job well. He did not come in there to be a likable guy.
That's a good point. Right.
Like
he's effective.
He came in there to be
disliked.
Yes,
he came in there to be
I
disliked.
didn't actually hate him ever until like you could tell he took the
serum.
You could tell he took the super serum,
Right.
the super soldier serum,
Right.
or that brand or version of it.
Yep.
And you could kind of tell he was losing it a little bit.
Right.
And it was just he was blinded by rage. His best friend just died.
Yep.
Like, what would you do if your best friend just got murdered in front of you? No one would know until it happened.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he definitely shouldn't have killed that guy in public, on live, like, and he went after the wrong dude. He was just blinded.
Yep. Killed the wrong dude there, friend. That's hard to defend that one. Let's get into this a little bit, okay? So, Bucky and Sam take John Walker down.
Yeah.
John Walker gets shipped back to the States, and then just gets like stripped of almost any semblance of humanity and dignity. I thought, for as wrong as John Walker's actions were, I thought that was absolute Bush League bad leadership. Like, I felt bad for John Walker in that instance. 'Cause I'm like, time out. You guys, you leaders, you senators, you sent him out there as a soldier. What do soldiers do in war? They kill people. He killed a guy. Yes, in broad daylight. But it was the optics of it. Like, it was because it looked bad that they're like, well, you're now our scapegoat. So they didn't take any ownership of their actions. Like, you cut him loose. You sent him out there. That's bad leadership.
Well, and that's why they did it, though, is because they picked this guy to be Captain America.
Yep.
And to fill that role of Captain America,
you can't murder a dude.
You can't murder. You have to hold certain values, like.
Which I get that.
We had
strip them of the Captain America title, but they're going dishonorable discharge, no benefits. Like, whoa, time out. I don't disagree. Like, you're right. Bad choice for Captain America. But, woo, they went nuclear on his ass. Like, that was tough.
But I think it was just to save face in front of everybody else. They're like, we have to, like...
Which is why I hated it. I hate that kind of leadership. Just terrible.
No, I know.
Terrible.
But, I mean, he got picked back up, so... But
it was fun to see him still be a part of it. Like, his character's arc could have ended there for the show.
And he redeemed himself.
He did?
He really did.
Yeah.
Like, when he could have chosen to go after Carly to avenge his friend.
Right.
And he ended up saving hostages.
Yep.
So, I mean, tried to save hostages.
Made the effort.
And then his little toy frisbee that he used got beat to shit, but that's another point.
Yeah,
but
A for effort, and that's it.
And can we talk about what's her name? That chick that came in from Seinfeld.
Sharon Carter. Oh my goodness. Okay.
That was a plot twist that I didn't see coming. So I had to look her up.
Right.
And it turns out, so she worked with Shield. So I don't know what part of her...
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Yeah. So I don't know what part of her journey she's going to be on.
Yep.
But in the comics, she was with S.H.I.E.L.D. for a long time.
Okay.
And then was a double agent for Hydra.
Okay. Was
with Hydra for a little bit, and then was a triple agent and worked for the Russians.
Hi-oh.
So she's like your true spy film girl?
Did she ever have did she ever an alter ego? Like, did she ever have a character?
Madam Hydra. She does go... She's not the first Madam Hydra, but she does go by Madam Hydra for a little while.
Okay.
So, but yes.
Sure.
But otherwise, she's just like a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
Okay.
So, I don't know what route they're going to go. I have a feeling they're going to go the Hydra route. Like, can you imagine if they bring back Hydra in a subtle way? I mean, it opens the doors for a lot of different things. So,
yeah.
To have that...
Great great actress.
Superpower.
Right. This is just she's great.
She's great.
She
She just took over.
She just
when she
crackles,
entered, she took over. It was awesome.
She's simply one of those people that God said, and you will be awesome. Like, you will be great in whatever you are in. Like, seriously, I can't say that I've seen her in a lot, but everything I've seen her in, she's just tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous. We don't all have that ability.
I was just waiting for Jerry to come in.
My God.
But
that's what we're missing.
Yeah, we were missing, really, honestly. But, who else? Oh, so the Air Force guy, Joaquin.
Yep.
That's a character to watch.
Okay.
Because he becomes the next Falcon.
Okay.
In the comics.
Sure.
So when Falcon's like, keep the wings.
Right.
He's going to modify him. He'll be the new Falcon.
Okay. I'm right with that.
Because in the comics, him and the real Red Wing, because in the comics, Red Wing is an actual Falcon and not a robot. Some weird experiment happens and his like genetics mix with Red Wings. So he actually has bird wings.
Right.
Of a Falcon. So
comics, man.
Yep. And then they probably won't go that route. But just like how they don't give Sam his actual talking to birds ability.
That's for the best. That's for the best.
Honestly,
let's keep that out.
Honestly, it would be so cool to see actual Red Wing with them all the time.
Listen,
but
I didn't think that there was a place for Ant-Man. And they've made good Ant-Man movies, and they cast Paul Rudd. So damn it, they can do whatever they want.
I love Paul Rudd.
So I will preface this statement with that concession. There is no way we don't need anybody talking to birds. Like, we don't need that. Here's what's great about this show. Okay, one of the great things.
Yep.
All these characters, whether the protagonists or the antagonists, so complex. Like John Walker's character. Like you said, you're supposed to hate the guy. But at the end, he has this redemptive arc. The Flag Smashers and Carly Morgenthau. Not hard to relate to what it is that she's going through and the angle that she's coming from. I mean, Sam Wilson is consistently trying to relate to her, talk reason to her, because he's not wrong in thinking that, listen, you're coming at this with the right intentions of trying to help people, just going about it in a not great fashion.
He
That's
never
a really
fought
complex
back.
character.
He never fought back.
Never fought back. Freaking Baron Zemo.
Dude,
Woo!
Zemo is the shit, okay? By the way, the fact that he only wore the purple mask for a minute and a half is a crime against humanity, and I will stand by that forever, okay?
That was such a blatant fan service thing. Like, the mask is in the car. It's like,
yep.
Why?
And then,
why does this mask exist?
Yeah, they don't explain it. No, they're just like,
no.
He literally looks.
He just throws it on for no reason. It's like he's trying to hide his identity.
He literally looks in there. He's like, "This is cool." Taking this, and then he's like, "You know what? It's cold outside. Let me put this on real quick and shoot some people."
Bad rapport when this happens.
Yeah, and then it blows up. Literal fire in his face, and he still has a ski mask on, but. You could have been like, "Oh, this is what my ancestors wore." Cool,
yeah.
That would have been great.
Right,
but
just pure fan service.
Yeah. But his character was awesome because his character wasn't bad either. And keep in mind too,
complex.
The only two super soldiers he was okay with keeping alive were Steve and Bucky. Right. He wanted to kill every other one.
Yep.
And I think the only reason he didn't go after John Walker is because he didn't know John Walker took the serum.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
right. Yeah, I'm thinking back, but John Walker knocks him out without Zemo being able to see who it is that's knocking him out.
Yep.
Huh.
And he didn't know. He thought he smashed every single serum.
Yep.
So I don't think he knows
that's a good
John
point.
Walker is a super soldier.
That's how pure he was in his purpose. How about that? He's got vials upon vials sitting in front of him. And, I mean, did you think he was going to take it? Because I did.
You thought Baron was?
You bet.
I didn't think Baron was.
I did. I thought, he's going to take it, and now we've got Baron Zemo as the bad guy, and then he smashed him. What a great twist. What a great twist.
But, dude, he was legit. He was smashing those vials like he was trying to kill 15 cobras.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
That dude was going
Those
hard.
were snake stomps, and just little glass vials there, bud.
Okay, but what's the best thing about Zemo? Okay? Like, at the end, he ends up in the raft. Okay? I'm 1,000% sure this is setting up a Thunderbolt series or movie. Okay. Because he has led the Thunderbolts before in the comics. Okay. Well, shouldn't say. Well, he kind of led, but Thunderbolt Ross, I'm pretty sure, is in charge of the raft. So we have possible Red Hulk coming in. Okay. And whoever else they want to throw on the Thunderbolts, because kind of a game changer. There's rumors they might throw John Walker on there. I don't think they will, but I think John Walker will be like an agent for Hydra, unknowingly. Like I think they'll send him in to do things, and then turns out those things that he was doing were bad, and then he's gonna have that whole conflict, and then he's gonna go kill Hydra people. That's my guess on his arc. But yeah, we're probably gonna get a Thunderbolts because. I don't know who else is in the raft right now. There's not a lot of people, probably, but I think we'll start seeing more villains get thrown in the raft over killing them off.
The occupation level has to be fairly low at this stage, but loved having him in there. What an unexpected pull from Civil War, but I'm glad they brought him in the fold. I'm glad we're not done with that character. That was great. Here's something that, as we're talking through this, that I'm really enjoying and appreciating more now than I did before. With the exception of Carly Morgenthau dying, everybody else lived.
Well, her crew died.
Her
entire crew got blown up because Zemo's butler came through.
Yeah,
Who saw that coming?
I'm dismissing the crew. It's like, yeah, you guys were always going to die. But yeah, good on Zemo's butler. Like,
Did you just see him too?
What a champ.
He was legit sitting in there like this.
Yeah. He was pleased. It was just another day at the office for that guy. But I love that they have these characters, they developed them, and they didn't just off them. Like, we get more of these characters. That's great, because it's so easy, right? We just talked about Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock, great villain, great character. Dead? That's it?
That's my biggest beef with some of these superhero movies, is I think they kill villains off too easily.
It's not necessary.
And
that's not necessary to have the good guys win for the bad guy to die. We don't need that.
Yeah, and in the comics, they're like, never die. We're going to keep you alive forever. And it's like, okay, you can kill them off eventually.
Yeah.
But, I would have loved it if Killmonger would have stayed alive. I would have loved it if...
I still think he might be alive.
Yeah, there's a good possibility. They could bring him back.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. And we could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
What a great show. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff.
And to end it, what the hell was up with Sharon Carter?
Okay, yep. Don't know. Didn't see that one coming at all.
There's a lot of rumors on her, but I don't...
It was unexpected. I'm not unexpected that she ended up being the power broker, per se, but unexpected that she was, like, just... as transparently bad, right? As any of these characters. Like we just talked about how we had these complex characters where even the bad guys, the John Walkers, the Carly Morgenthaus, like you could relate, the Baron Zemos. Sharon Carter, not so much. Like, woo.
She was gonna kill Carly regardless.
Yes.
Carly was gonna die because she didn't want Sam knowing that she's the power broker.
Yep.
So there are theories that she's gonna come back and like Secret Empire, not Secret Empire, the Secret Invasion.
Yep.
Because there's rumors like, oh, she's a Skrull, so she's gonna try to get all these weapons out to Skrull people, but like,
I don't think that's where they're going with Secret Invasion.
I don't know what they're gonna do because to me it's like a complete 180 of who she was.
It is.
Like I get being pissed off that your country like disavowed you.
Yep.
But they gave you everything back. They fixed it, and then you're like, okay, well, we're gonna keep screwing you guys over.
Yeah.
Screw America.
Yeah, not expected. Not expected. Tough look for Sharon. Would have loved to have seen.
And she was so cool.
Yeah.
She was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Would have loved to have seen something different, but.
And that kicks us off into.
Let's go.
Loki.
And
Shang-Chi. Probably a little bit of Shang-Chi.
We got to touch on Shang-Chi a little bit. Okay, so Loki. I just want to talk about what it is that we want to see in Loki.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What do we want out of that show? I want Owen Wilson for the whole stretch of the show. I will be furious.
If he's only like in one episode.
If he's in the first episode, a little bit of the second, Loki kills him, or some other, and he's just done. I want Owen pull the pole.
Yeah,
Whole
I agree
way.
with you. So
that's what I want, because Give me Owen Wilson in my veins all day.
Pretty sure this whole series is about them fixing the timeline.
Yep.
So all the alternate timelines that happen in Endgame, they're going to fix it and make it one timeline again.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, right?
That's what it's set up to look like.
So
that's how they're, let me rephrase, that's how they're marketing it. Like, they're definitely, in that most recent trailer, when Owen Wilson's character is talking to Loki about all the timelines that have branched off of the main thread of reality, it's pretty obvious that, okay, they're bringing Loki in to assist with fixing the timeline.
Okay.
So
So
I'm in. Yep.
here's what I want.
Yep.
Okay. I want the fixing of the timelines to bring back characters. Okay. In a sense that makes sense. So you're fixing off timelines.
Yep.
Let's say like this
So you
timeline
want
meshes
some
with this
characters to come
timeline.
back.
Yeah, because
Yep.
think about it.
Who do you want
like
back?
if all timelines mesh together,
Okay.
like obviously things didn't happen the right way here.
Sure.
Obviously things didn't happen the right way here.
Sure.
I guess it just depends on what all happens.
It's time travel. You get to
Yes.
make up your own rules. So.
But it's their own weird take on time travel.
Yes.
So I don't fully know what route we're gonna go.
That's exactly right. They've clearly established they've got their own rules of time travel.
Yes.
In the MCU, and
So
yeah, they can do whatever they want. So who do you want to see back?
I don't know. That's what because I already mentioned Killmonger.
Do you want to see Black Widow come back? I don't think Killmonger is actually dead. I don't think he ever actually died. in Black Panther.
I don't think Black Widow's fully dead either, because the Soul Stone was brought back. So wouldn't she come back?
Great question.
So I can see
Great
her
question.
being alive too.
I really wondered about the Soul Stone things. Like, how does the Soul Stone?
That's
how do you bring that back in the exact moment in time? Because the whole concept was the stone has to be returned at the same moment it was removed.
yeah. So pretty much you have to.
Yeah.
You'd get Black Widow back.
You would
You'd think. So I could see her coming back.
But the stone only reveals itself after she died, so bringing it back wouldn't necessarily reverse it, but it could. Yeah. There's options. There's an opportunity there. I'll give you that. There's an opportunity there.
I'm just trying to remember who all died.
Black Widow could come back.
Like I'd be okay with like if Gamora's like whole timeline got restored, because if we're gonna have her back and have all her character progression just lost, I'm kind of like not into it.
Vision's already essentially been brought back.
Yep.
Yep.
You're gonna Billy and whatever, they're gonna be back in.
You want to see Quicksilver come back?
Yeah, Quicksilver's a big one.
Yep.
Quicksilver is huge because I really like the actor who played him.
Yep.
And I mean, what better way to bring him back? I don't know how that would all work, because I can also see them saving him for like Doctor Strange 2 as well.
Sure.
And I don't know if they want to bring him back or if they want to bring the guy who was in X-Men back.
Right.
The guy who played fake John Boner. They might bring him back.
AKA
Talk
Ralph.
about shit in your face. That was the one time. Oh, it pissed me off.
What a just nasty.
That
tease.
and the first Mandarin pissed me off too.
Yep.
Um,
You want to see Loki come back? I mean, he's getting this show. At the end of it, do you want Loki to be alive?
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, because
I think it's more fun for him to be alive than not.
Yes.
I would much rather him being alive. And
him and Thor are finally getting along. Not that would last. Not that would last, but
it's hard for me to separate the characters of Thor and Loki. Like, Thor needs Loki, that yin and that yang. I really want Loki to be around.
yeah, I do too.
I do. I don't think that invalidates or cheapens the death of Loki in Infinity War. Like, that was still tough and unexpected when that happened. So I don't think it cheapens that.
Because I was waiting for him to like come back.
Exactly.
I thought it was going to be a fake again.
And he was super dead, like thoroughly dead. But I would love to see his character be restored. All for that.
Like I said, they just like started getting along for real.
Yep.
And he's like, the sun will rise on us again, and choked out, dead.
Yep. Yeah. So those are my two big things. Owen Wilson, whole show.
Yeah, I
Loki,
agree with you.
I want him to be restored, to be alive at the end. And then for me, the third thing, I would love to see a new villain. Like one that I can't even pull out of my hat and go, I want this villain. I would just love to see a new villain
I
come
agree.
out of this.
Man, Kang would have been so cool for this, but they're not. They're saving Kang for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right.
Which is fine.
Paul Rudd, man.
I love Paul Rudd. I've said that twice now. I love Paul Rudd 3 times. Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what else I'd like to see. Like I think Owen Wilson is basically just going to be reining in Loki. Like I think he's basically in charge of keeping Loki on a leash.
Yeah.
Like he's that parent that you see at the parks with their kid on like a rope that's 2 feet long because if they let go of that rope,
they'll never see their kid again.
Their kid's gonna eat wood chips or something. So Owen Wilson will be great. Who else is confirmed in that? Out of curiosity,
Good question.
Because
go to the tape here. Let's find out.
I don't. You see Owen Wilson, you see Loki, and that's pretty much it. There's also like this cool concept that I remember when they announced the series is people wanted to see like Loki influencing people throughout history to do bad things.
Okay.
Which would have been kind of cool to see. His Owen Wilson's character, Mobius M. Mobius.
There's very little reveal.
Hey, look at that. He's confirmed all 6 episodes.
Let's go. Oh, good.
You should feel good now.
Good. There is.
I honestly think it would be great to see him get like killed and then just come right back and be like, dude, you can't kill me.
There's just not a lot that's revealed.
Okay, one of those two.
Coy.
One of those two has to be the villain, right?
Richard
or one of those
Grant
3.
Is your stereotypical.
That dude is
white bad guy.
That
dude is a bad dude in Wolverine. Remember?
Barely.
Yeah, it was a weird choice with his character.
That dude is a bad dude.
So he's the personification of who the bad guy could be.
Is she a love interest? Wait, I did hear we might see female Loki too.
See, and that's something I'm not going for.
I mean,
I don't get that. I'm like,
I don't care.
Nah.
It's like,
not going for it. So whatever.
I don't know.
They're holding back, which hey, fair enough.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name.
Hold back. It's all good.
Gugu.
Yeah.
Gugu Mbatha-Raw.
That's a tough one. No clue. All right, so that's Loki. Let's talk Shang-Chi. All right.
That trailer was dope.
We've got Kung Fu.
I know.
In Marvel. Okay, I'm in. I'm in. That like karate in the Marvel universe. Deal.
They had me at the Mandarin, baby.
Yep.
We getting a real Mandarin. They are fixing what Iron Man 3 destroyed. And that was my dreams. Like
that's it, huh? Just the dreams.
Yeah, pretty much because Mandarin's like a really prominent Iron Man villain. So it would have been really cool to see those two actually duke it out. And I mean, he probably fits more into Shang-Chi. But let's see here.
But it was just kind of silly what they did in Iron Man 3. Like that was I don't know of anybody that really enjoyed that. That went, oh, that was a great twist.
Everyone hated it.
Yeah,
everyone hated
universally disliked.
And then after that, they had the little like end credit scene thing that they released, and it was like, okay, the real Mandarin's actually pissed. You pretended to be him, and we're gonna kill you.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, Mandarin has like 10 rings on his fingers that each do different powers or whatever.
Right.
So there's in the trailer. You see, like, the bracelets.
Yep.
So people are saying that those are what the rings are now instead of actual
like rings
finger rings.
Rings that fit around your forearm. Okay.
I'm hoping that's not the case.
Yeah, you want the finger rings?
I want the classic.
Okay.
But we'll see.
That's fair. I'm just excited for the fighting style, the different the difference that we're going to get with freaking kung fu, karate, jiu-jitsu, whatever the appropriate designation is. I'm in. Yeah. That's great because I think we're kind of at that point of it's hard to tell the difference in some of these movies of the fighting styles. And so I'm really excited that we're getting a demonstrably different flavor of action. Like that is great. That is so cool. I'm excited just for the visuals of it. And this is one of those movies where I don't know anything about these characters. Like Shang-Chi,
I don't really either.
No clue. No clue.
I know he taught Spider-Man Spider-Fu or whatever. Or Way of the Spider.
Sure.
Way of the Spider, maybe.
Sure. So I'm excited to see what they're going to essentially develop with this from a story perspective, what kind of doors they're trying to open, what kind of avenues they're going to go down. But I like it because here's the deal. It's fresh.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not something that is a direct, as far as we know right now, branch off from the first 10 years of the MCU, right? It's not Thor 4. WandaVision was great. Falcon and Winter Soldier was great, but all of that is such a direct continuation of the stories that have come before. This seems like its own, very much its own story. That it's gonna correlate, it's gonna relate. Sorry, that was a double relation there.
You're good.
But it's not dependent. It doesn't feel dependent on what came before. And I'm excited for that. That's cool.
I feel like you're going to go in there and you're going to forget it's a Marvel movie for a little bit, which is okay.
Yeah.
What I am excited for, I'm excited to see Mandarin's influence throughout the movies.
Yep.
Because he is like part of the reason why Tony got kidnapped in the first one.
Yep.
It's the 10 rings. He's in charge of that.
Yep.
So it's going to be really cool to see like I said, his whole influence throughout those movies. That's why, and I'm hoping, we've been talking about it all podcast, okay? Mm-hmm. Do not kill him off in the first movie. Let him stay. He's a powerhouse.
Yep.
Okay? Just please.
Yep.
So, oh man, that would be so sweet. I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, and then they're going to open up, I think, like a whole other mythical side to Marvel. Because like they've shown that dragons are going to maybe pop up.
Right.
Like there was one clip.
Like tiger beasts?
Yep. There's a bunch of different like mythical creatures from like Asian cultures. So it'll be interesting to see that too, I think.
Yeah, no doubt.
And
no doubt.
For the love of God, set up Fin Fang Foom. I want a Fin Fang Foom because you know how fun it is to say Fin Fang Foom? Oh, man.
Almost as fun as it is to say that you love Paul Rudd.
I love Paul Rudd.
Who doesn't?
I love Paul Rudd. We're at 5.
That's great.
Yeah, so Fin Fang Foom would be great because that would open up like the monster side of Marvel. So and that could lead us to Man-Thing and all these other big monster creature things.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think more than anything, I'm excited because Marvel needs this. They need to have
fresh
these fresh characters, fresh stories. Because in comics, right, there reaches a point where you can really limit yourself in a story, just a straight up in the pages story of all you're doing is referencing what's come in the past, and you never get around to telling a new or worthwhile story that is strong enough on its own merits. It's just you're constantly referencing the past, and the story's over. It's just like I didn't need all that. Like it was unsatisfying. And so I think that there's strength in shows like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki, and in the movies that are going to come out that are in the same vein with Spider-Man Far From Home, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, that are still drawing on that direct history, but they need this. They need these movies. The Eternals is going to be another one, I would assume, where it's just fresh. It's just there's no other characters that we know yet. Eventually, is it going to tie in? Are we going to see how it ties in? Yes. But what percent do you want to put on it? Like 99% of it is new. And then there's the 1% that goes in. That's how it plugs in. Yep. And that's great. Like it needs both. You don't just want to shuck to the side what's been done, because what's been done is fantastic. And for as much as that can be a burden in comics, it can also be a great thing when you're able to draw on that history, but do it in such a way that you're able to tell fresh, new stories. It's a foundation to build on. It's not a burden that weighs you down. So I'm excited for this. I know nothing about it, but we got Kung Fu. We got a great villain like the Mandarin that's being apparently given his due.
I hope he's cutthroat.
I
hope first scene he kills 5 people.
5 people.
Establish your dominance, sir.
Call your shot right
sick.
now. Right now.
I'm so excited.
That's great.
I'm trying to keep my expectations lowered too, because I've been tricked before.
Well, looks like it's current expected release date September 3rd of this year. That time's gonna go by fast.
And when is Black Widow coming out? Next month?
Yeah, let's go to the tape here real quick. May sounds correct.
Black May.
Black May. Oh boy. It's getting late. Here we go. Let's try this again.
July 9th.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Well, man, we got a lot of good things to look forward to.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's good. A lot of good things to look forward to. We'll have more to delve into in future episodes. Anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap this puppy up?
I think that's it. Man, that's our shortest episode. Man, we rolled her out.
Tell you what, we cranked through it. That was great stuff. Good content, a lot of good stuff to discuss. Can't wait to see what we come up with here in another week or so.
I guess the last thing would be, like, you're hearing these titles, like Eternals and Shang-Chi, and just don't be worried about it, like, for being new and you're like, ugh, I don't know if this is going to be worthwhile. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy. People were all like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the first flop Marvel produces. Everyone bet that movie would flop, and it skyrocketed.
It was excellent.
It's one of the best Marvel movies. So I think Eternals is going to introduce us to this long legacy of this universe building. I think that's what the Eternals is going to set out. I think Shang-Chi is going to show us what's happening in Asia during this time. We're getting out of just strictly America.
Sure.
I mean, I think they did say San Francisco is going to be in there, but like getting into the Asian culture, which we haven't seen, and then we don't know what Loki's even going to do. We have no idea what Loki's going to do. They kept that pretty like under wraps. Even in the trailer, it's hard to like figure it out. So
again, the X-Men are still out there. They haven't been tapped into. I feel like we do this every time, or I bring it up every time. But I love that they are just in the thick of characters that the general public, and I'll include myself in that, don't know anything or that much about, because that allows you, when you make a great movie, that allows an audience member like myself to go into it with really neutral expectations, where I'm going, okay, I know that this production company has a track record of pumping out great films, so this should be good, but that's it.
Yep.
That makes it so much easier to enjoy a story when your expectations are realistic. And listen, we're guys that love Batman, Superman, the DC pantheon. But part of, I think, the burden, and this is a topic we'll get into on a different day, part of the burden of that is they're so much more well-known than Shang-Chi. That it can be that much more difficult, I think, to make a really good movie with one of those characters, because you're just limited that much more. You have to fit this paradigm of what so many different people see in their minds when they say Batman. Here's what I picture. You say Shang-Chi, who?
It gives you the creative freedom.
Absolutely.
Because you can kind of do whatever you want with it, and nobody's going to really care unless they're die-hard Shang-Chi fans, which I'm sure there are a few out there.
I'm sure there's dozens.
But, like,
only
for
dozens.
the most part, no one's going to be, like, hardcore on it. No. So you can kind of do what you want.
No.
It opens up stuff. So
it's great. It's great. Looking forward to it. You should be, too. And if you're listening to this, you probably are.
Yeah, so on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Make sure you subscribe, follow us, and I love Paul Rudd. Godspeed.
Thanks for listening, everybody.